For a long time, I bought into the idea that hard work speaks for itself. That if you stay late, say yes to every request, and never complain, someone up there will take notice. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday your dedication will be rewarded. That was the belief I held when I took the job as a supply chain analyst at Halverson Retail. It wasn't glamorous, but I liked the complexity. I liked being the guy who made things move smoothly behind the scenes. My manager, Greg, gave off this laid-back, I've got your back, energy, and the team was small enough that I felt like I mattered. But then came that year. It started with a supplier mix-up in February. A mislabeling issue caused a shipment of electric kettles to be sent to Colorado instead of Connecticut. I stayed 3 nights past midnight fixing order chains and coordinating urgent deliveries. No one said anything. Then the warehouse system crashed in April. I spent Easter weekend rebuilding inventory files from scratch while my friends were out grilling burgers. My boss said, "Appreciate you doing that, Kev," like he was commenting on someone lending him a pencil. No recognition. No bonus. No time off. When summer rolled around, corporate decided to downsize our support team by 30%. That meant double the workload, fewer hands on deck, and the same expectations. I became the guy everyone dumped things on. Need someone to prep the monthly report? Kevin will do it. Client wants real-time order tracking? Kevin's your guy. Manager forgot to follow up with a freight carrier and now the customer's furious? Kevin can clean it up. Each time, I nodded. I told myself it would pay off. That I was building capital. That being the go-to guy would lead to something, a raise, a promotion, at least a sincere thank you. Spoiler, it didn't. By October, I was numb. I had stopped counting how many nights I left the office after 9 p.m. Or how many times I said no problem when I wanted to scream. I missed birthdays, dinners, even my cousin's wedding because I didn't want to let the team down. When the holidays hit, the company went all out for the customers. Free shipping, flash sales, extended return policies. Behind the scenes, we were hanging on by a thread. And I was the thread. December bled into January. The new year started with an emergency inventory audit. I barely made it to my family's New Year's dinner. My mom looked at me and said, "Kev, you look pale. Are you sleeping?" I wasn't. But I lied and said I was fine. Then came the annual company meeting. The big one. The whole company gathered, executives, department heads, remote teams zoomed in from across the country. It was supposed to be this feel-good, look at what we accomplished together moment. Greg got on stage. We faced challenges this year, but we pulled through thanks to the dedication of people like Kevin Tranth, who stepped up time and time again. People clapped politely. I gave a tight smile and nodded, waiting for more. Maybe a plaque? A performance bonus? Even a framed certificate? Nope. At the end of the meeting, HR handed out holiday bags to every employee. Inside was a candy cane, a $5 coffee voucher, a Team Halverson notebook, and a stainless steel travel mug with the company logo etched on it. That was it. 12 months of missed weekends, skipped holidays, stress migraines, and 70-hour weeks condensed into a $6 mug and a passing mention at a podium. I sat in my car that evening holding the mug in my hand. My fingers curled around the metal like it meant something, like I needed to feel something for all the time I'd given up. I stared at the logo. I thought about all the urgent calls I took at dinner, the hundreds of hours I never logged because I wanted to be a team player, and the countless times I said yes when I should have said, "That's not my job." That mug became a symbol, not of appreciation, but of how little they thought of me. And right then, something in me broke. I realized I wasn't being loyal. I was being used. And from that day forward, I knew, this job doesn't deserve another hour of my life. After that humiliating reward, I didn't rage quit. I didn't flip a desk or blast off an angry resignation email. That would have been too easy. And honestly, it would have let them off the hook. No, I did something worse. I smiled, nodded, and quietly started planning my escape. The first thing I did was look at my bank account. I wasn't exactly swimming in savings, but I had enough stashed away to give myself a 3-month cushion if I needed to walk. And suddenly, that safety net felt like power. Next, I updated my resume. For the first time in years, I really thought about everything I'd done. The process overhauls I led, the supply disruptions I solved, the cost savings I generated. The numbers were impressive. But no one at my company had ever bothered to ask for them. I'd been invisible despite being indispensable. Then came LinkedIn. I cleaned up my profile, reached out to old college friends, and sent some casual, "Hey, long time no talk," messages to people who had jumped to other firms. That's when I had my first real wake-up call. One of them, Alyssa, now a senior operations manager at a startup, messaged me back. Kev, wow, I always thought you were still at Halverson. Can't believe they haven't promoted you yet. Your work ethic was insane even back in college. Want me to connect you with our recruiter? It hit me like a truck. Other people saw my value. Why didn't I? I started applying. Slowly at first, then with more confidence. I wasn't just looking for a better salary, I was looking for a workplace that saw me. Meanwhile, back at Halverson, I made one final decision. I would give them exactly what they gave me, the bare minimum. I stopped replying to emails after hours. I clocked out on time every time. I left Greg's, "Can you jump on a quick call?" Messages on read. And you know what happened? Nothing. No fires. No collapse. No disasters. Just silence. Because it turns out, when you stop overfunctioning, people stop depending on you to fix everything for free. That realization was liberating. But something else happened, too. I started noticing things. Things I had ignored while buried in work. Like the fact that the new hire in our department, Tom, who came from Greg's previous job, was making $8,000 more than me, with fewer responsibilities. Or that I was still doing data cleanup on weekends, while he got Fridays off to focus on strategy. Or that a project I built from scratch had Greg's name on the final report. It wasn't just the mug. That mug was just the last straw. The truth was, I had been undervalued, underpaid, and strategically sidelined for years, and I had let it happen, thinking it would all even out in the end. But now I had a plan. Now I was done waiting for fairness. Now I was done being quiet. One Thursday afternoon, I got a message from a recruiter at a logistics firm in Seattle. They had seen my portfolio, loved my process redesigns, and wanted to schedule an interview. The next morning, I sat across from their hiring manager, virtually, of course, and for the first time in a long time, I felt excited. Not nervous. Not desperate. Excited. He looked at my resume and said, "Honestly, you've been doing senior-level work for years. Why hasn't your title changed?" I smiled and replied, "Because I thought loyalty would be rewarded. I was wrong, but I won't make that mistake again." After that interview with the Seattle firm, I felt something I hadn't felt in months, hope. 2 days later, they followed up with an offer, a 22% salary increase, remote flexibility, and a signing bonus. But I didn't accept it immediately. Not because I wasn't thrilled, but because I had unfinished business at Halverson. And I wanted to make sure my exit made an impact, not just for me, but for everyone else quietly burning out while waiting for a thank you that never came. I started tying up loose ends. I didn't check out. I actually worked harder, but this time on my terms. I documented every system I had built from scratch, every process I had optimized, every workaround I had created because management refused to invest in proper software. I organized everything into a shared drive titled Kevin's Playbook, a subtle reminder of just how much the company ran on invisible labor. Then I called in a favor from IT, nothing shady, just a request for an email export for personal record keeping. And you bet I saved every message where I was asked to work overtime without pay, where Greg dumped last-minute assignments on me, and where I was told, "Let's hold off on that raise until the next quarter." Receipts. All of them. I waited until Monday, first day of the quarter. The same day we were supposed to start a massive new logistics rollout. One I had been warning Greg about for weeks, because it wasn't ready. But of course, he ignored me. I walked in at 8:30 sharp, holding the same company travel mug they'd gifted me, and placed it neatly on my desk like a prop. Greg was already panicking. "Kev, hey, we've got a vendor on hold and the new dashboard's bugging out. Can you?" "No," I said, calmly, firmly. He blinked. "No? I won't be fixing it, Greg. I'm resigning. Effective immediately." His jaw literally dropped. I handed him the printed offer letter from the new firm, stapled to my resignation notice, and said, "Turns out other people actually value my time, and they pay for it, too." He tried to save face, of course. "Let's talk this through. Maybe there's something we can offer." "Nope. You had 12 months to do that." I stood up, grabbed my bag, and paused at the door. Then I turned back, held up the mug, and added, "You might want to update the gift policy. Next year, someone else might not be as polite." I walked out and didn't look back. But that wasn't the end. Later that week, I got messages from 2 coworkers. One who had seen my departure email and another who was CC'd on my handover package. Both said the same thing. Thank you. You made us feel less crazy for wanting more. And you know what? That felt better than any mug. Because for once, doing the right thing actually meant something. My first day at the new company felt surreal. After months, no years of being overworked and overlooked, I logged into my new role as senior logistics strategist from the comfort of my apartment, coffee in hand, and no stress eating away at the back of my brain. The team had already sent a welcome kit the week before. A sleek laptop, branded hoodie, snacks, a handwritten card from my new manager, and yes, another travel mug. But this time, it didn't feel like an insult. It felt intentional. Thoughtful. The note even said, "We know how important it is to keep people running, and that starts with good coffee. We're lucky to have you, Kevin." I stared at that card longer than I cared to admit. During onboarding, my new manager, Dana, introduced me to the team. She didn't just say, "Here's Kevin, our new hire." She said, "Here's Kevin, who brings 7 years of experience managing messy systems and turning them into streamlined operations. He's led successful rollouts and resolved supplier crises in real time. He's not just joining us, he's going to help us level up." No one had ever introduced me like that before. Not even close. In my first week, I was given access to real data. Actual tools. Autonomy. I was asked for my opinion. People listened. No one dumped their work on me. No one expected me to prove myself by sacrificing my weekends. And for the first time in a long time, I slept through the night. But what really got to me, what really drove home that I had made the right decision, was a one-on-one with Dana during week 2. She said, "I've been reviewing your transition docs from your last role. It's impressive how much you were responsible for. I just want to say we don't expect heroics here. We expect clarity, communication, and consistency. Burnout helps no one. So if we ever push too hard, I want you to say so." I swear I almost teared up, because at Halverson, being overworked was a badge of honor. Here, it was a red flag. I didn't realize how much damage that old place had done until I finally stepped out of it. The toxic normalization of unpaid overtime, the performative shout-outs, the weaponized loyalty, it had all warped my expectations. But here, things were different. There was one moment, though, that really sealed it. About a month in, I redesigned a logistics routing process that saved the company $180,000 in annual shipping costs. Just doing what I do. Dana saw the results and immediately scheduled a team-wide call. In front of everyone, she said, "This wasn't something I asked for. Kevin saw a gap and solved it. That's what leadership looks like." Then she paused and added, "And unlike some companies, we don't give mugs for results like that. We give bonuses. Check your inbox, Kevin." I did. There it was. A $2,500 performance bonus 1 month into the job. It wasn't about the money, though. It was about what it represented. Recognition. Respect. Real leadership. That night, I pulled out the old mug from Halverson, the one that had triggered it all. I stared at the logo. Then I dropped it into the trash. Not out of bitterness, but because I didn't need the reminder anymore. I was finally where I belonged. By my 3rd month at the new company, I had fully settled in. The work was engaging, the culture was healthy, and maybe most surprising of all, I actually started enjoying Mondays again. But just because I'd moved on didn't mean I forgot where I came from. One night, I got a message from Marissa, one of my old teammates at Halverson. She had always been sharp, organized, and grossly underappreciated, just like I had been. "Marissa, hey Kev. Hope you're doing well. Got a second to talk?" We jumped on a call later that night. Her voice was tense. "I just found out Tom got promoted. I've been leading the warehouse migration project for 3 months and no one even mentioned me in the update meeting." I sighed. Not because I was surprised, but because I knew that feeling too well. "You're not crazy," I told her. "That company has a pattern and it's not going to change for you, me, or anyone unless it costs them something." She was quiet for a moment, then asked the question that changed everything. "So how did you get out?" That's when I realized something. I hadn't just escaped, I had learned how to escape. And now I could pass that on. We spent 2 hours going through her resume, rebuilding her experience in a way that highlighted her real value, not the watered-down bullet points HR made her submit during performance reviews. I shared my spreadsheet template for interview prep, helped her map her accomplishments to measurable outcomes, coached her on how to respond to "Why are you looking to leave?" without sounding bitter. A few weeks later, she landed an interview at a logistics startup expanding to the East Coast. 3 weeks after that, she got an offer. A 30% pay bump, hybrid schedule, and stock options. When she called to tell me the news, I could hear the smile in her voice. I honestly didn't think I had options, Kev. I thought I just had to deal with it. But you were right. I was never the problem. The system was. And just like that, another one of us was free. It didn't stop there. Word got around. A few more ex-colleagues reached out. People who had watched me grind myself into dust for years, now watching me thrive. I didn't sugarcoat it, I told them the truth. You are not paid in full just because someone tells you thank you. You are not being loyal if your loyalty is only ever one-sided. And you are not stuck unless you let yourself be. I started calling it the mug moment, that one event that wakes you up and makes you realize how little you're valued. For me, it was literally a mug. For others, it was being passed over, gaslit, or buried in someone else's credit. But the point was always the same. Once you've had your mug moment, you get to choose what happens next. And I chose to stop working myself to death for people who saw me as disposable. Yeah? I mentor new hires. I push for fair policies. I speak up when someone's being taken advantage of. I remember what it was like to sit in a break room late at night, exhausted and waiting for praise that would never come. I don't wait anymore. I act. And every time I see someone walking out of a toxic job with their head held high, I know I did the right thing. Because some people leave behind trophies or plaques or promotions. Me? I left behind a mug and picked up a future.